This is a wonderful morning because this is the morning that we're going to welcome our new members. And so all of you who are here with us this morning, we're delighted to have you here to welcome everybody. And so we're going to take this time now to prepare to turn within. As we do that, I will ask you to silence your cell phones so that we don't have them going on, or just put it on vibrate so they're not going off in the middle of everything this morning. And to take a moment to just prepare to turn within, bless you, so that we can center ourselves as we begin this lovely morning. Oh, I guess that did come up already. How very interesting. Well, I do want to let you know that our musician this morning is Lauren Mayer. She's with us live this morning once again.
Good morning.
I don't know why I put that slide in there, but I did. You never know. Oh, well, okay. Don't stand yet. I don't know where the other ones are, but we're gonna have now our morning prayer. So Leslie, would you please come up and go ahead and pray us in?
Just turning within to the sacred center of the universe within each one, as I bring my full attention to the infinite life, the magnificent all-in-all power and presence, which moves upon itself and expands the universe with its movement. It recreates, reestablishes, reforms everything out of its creative principle. And that each one is a vessel for the wholeness of the infinite life, that each one is a unique individualization of this life. There is no separation. So I speak my word for each one, and I claim an opening in consciousness for a resonant realization that the life within is always seeking greater self-expression by means of each one to reflect itself out into form and conditions, and allowing for this life to move within and to express its light, always manifests as unity consciousness, as this life is always assimilating itself through each one and unifying itself with each one. And the demonstration of oneness is innate and natural with an opening in heart and mind. So in today's service, the infinite life moves through Reverend Mary, through every word, through every heart, through every mind, and makes itself presence in this room, in every place. So I give thanksgiving for the opening in consciousness which allows for the infinite life to express its wholeness through each one, and I release my word to the law of mind, which accepts my word as a new creation for the greater good, and so it is.
I'm completely confused. Okay. I threw myself off. So, Lauren is an award-winning singer-songwriter. She does comedy tunes, and I keep reassuring her that it's okay to do funny songs for us. So she said to me this morning, I took you at your word. So the opening and closing songs are not funny. This one is a Karen Drucker song. And just, give a moment of sympathy to Lauren's mother, because she's a Phi Beta Kappa graduate of Yale and a 5-time recipient of the San Francisco Cabaret Award. She's won numerous honors and accolades for her original music, and her mother still can't figure out why she didn't go to law school. So please stand and join us for this opening song with Lauren right now.
And these lyrics are pretty easy. It's thank you for this, or for my something. Oh, it's up there. Great. Okay, yeah. So here we go. And actually, the first one we're going to do 3 times because I checked the track. So here we go.
All right.
Here we go. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing. See, it's really easy, so keep going. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing. So we're going to do that one more time, then move on to the other things. One more time. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. My friends, thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful. Let's do the friends again now. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. It's okay to dance while we do this. My wonderful friends. My health. Thank you for my health, Spirit. Thank you for my health. Thank you for my health, Spirit. Thank you for my health. My radiant, my radiant, my radiant health. My radiant, my radiant, my radiant. Better than going to the gym. Thank you for my life, Spirit. Thank you for my life. Thank you for my life, Spirit. Thank you for my life. My glorious, my glorious, my glorious life. My glorious, my glorious, my glorious life. My wealth. Thank you for my wealth, Spirit. Thank you for my wealth. Thank you for my wealth, Spirit. Thank you for my wealth. My opulent, my opulent, my opulent wealth. My opulent, my opulent, my opulent back today. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for my day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Just repeat that. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this. One more time. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Big finish. Thank you for this day,
Spirit, thank you for this day. Give yourselves a hand. Very nice. Yeah, we should have done that before we did the prayer, but because I arrived in a discombobulated state, I have shuffled my brain. The slides are fine, my brain is shuffled, but that's okay, because sometimes the shuffled brain will produce something better than what you thought you had in mind. Have you ever noticed that? Because when the mind gets shuffled and you're a little confused, then Spirit has an opening that you usually have kind of, put away. So now that we have done the opening prayer and we have sung, now we're going to listen to Lauren. So now she's going to play us the music that is her. Well, I'll let her tell you because, yeah.
So I wanted to pick or write some songs that went with what Reverend Mary was going to be talking about today. And I tried to write something serious, and sometimes it just kind of sneaks out. So anyway, I've been sort of studying chant writing with Karen Drucker, who's a very dear friend, and learning this. So anyway, see if I got on the right track. I am content just as I am, and things are fine just as they are. My life is blessed, for which I'm grateful. But if a few more blessings came my way, that would be okay too. I have enough right here and now, and I receive all that I need, which I assure you I'm well aware of. But if a little more abundance came my way, that would be okay too. Between serenity and ambition, can't there be something in the middle? Can you be happy as you are while also wishing for more? But just a little, I promise I'm not greedy. I'm a success just as I am, and I've achieved what's truly important. I don't need outside recognition, other people's praise, or really nice introductions from Reverend Mary to know my own worth. But if a little more acknowledgement came my way, that would be okay too. And Spirit, while we're on this subject, I could manage to deal with a bit more abundance, and miscellaneous blessings would be okay too, if that's okay. I am content, I'm a success, I have enough, and I feel blessed. But if a little more of anything came my way, that would be okay too. Of course, I'll be fine if it doesn't happen, or if it does, either way, I'll be fine. But I wouldn't mind a little more too.
It just makes me think of Fiddler on the Roof and Tevye saying, "Would it be so terrible if I were a wealthy man?" You know, this was a more spiritual version of that song he sang to the infinite. So, Live Out Loud is what we're doing this year, and today is the day that we are acknowledging and celebrating our new members. So, President Karen Frost, would you come up? And now, and you're going to need to scoot back one row as I'm going to invite the new members to bring your packets and your candles and just come right down the aisle here to the very front row. I've got it right here. As long as you can see it, we're good. So I'm going to invite you to walk down and come and stand in front of your seats right here. And our new members are Jane Ritchie, Lynn Law, and Scott Brown. Now, you three can put everything down except your little folded paper like Scott has, but do hang on to your candle for the moment. And we're going to take you through this new member process, so you want to open that up because you're going to be reading along with the members. So, at Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, core values guide us. They shape our interactions, consciousness, and decision making as a spiritual community, not just as a leadership council, but as a spiritual community. We want to rely on those. So if you're choosing to commit yourselves to these shared values, and those of you who are choosing to commit yourselves to these shared values, please read them with me now. We commit ourselves to the best of our ability to these shared values. Spiritual growth is an ongoing personal experience of awakening to the divine. Community is a welcoming place of belonging where spiritual growth is supported and shared. Integrity is living honestly, keeping your word, and showing up as your true self. Love is open-hearted connection given with warmth and kindness. So these are the values that we've identified as a spiritual community, and not only identified them, but also defined them for us as we live them. Out of these core values grows GGCSL's mission statement, or our reason for being. And the mission is the promise that we make to those who come seeking spiritual community. This is what we want to offer. This is what we want to be to them. So let's read that together. Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living is a place to deepen our relationship with Spirit while safely exploring the beliefs that drive our lives. Through our shared experiences in Sunday celebrations, learning, service, and affirmative prayer, we enjoy more fulfilling lives. And who wouldn't want a more fulfilling life? Yeah? Do you pledge to support the mission of Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living to the best of your ability? If so, please respond, we do. So our vision then evolves out of the mission, and it's the big picture of the future. It's how we see ourselves, but really also where we want to go as we go forward. So this is how we plan to live our values and our mission. Please read that with me. Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living is a home of belonging for spiritual deepening, loving connection, and inner healing. We are here to experience, express, and witness a renewal of the deep, rich, familiar connection between us and God. So do you pledge to participate in the work and play of living the vision statement of Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living to the best of your ability? Very good. And do you promise to honor your own sacred path and to use the spiritual practices that help you to discover and follow that path so that you can live the life you came here to live? You are going to want that microphone.
I get this microphone. I get it. Got it. Hi, I'm Karen Frost, the Leadership Council President here at Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. And members, our members, all of our members, are the voice of this spiritual community. You are ambassadors to the Science of Mind teachings in the larger community, and you are the backbone of the volunteers giving sacred service. Your leadership inspires others through your vision and active support of Golden Gate Centers for Spiritual Living. Do you promise to uphold and practice these principles in your daily lives? If so, answer, we do. If you have a differing opinion, do you promise to meditate first, think secondly, and speak last? Thank you. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, did we all promise that? Yeah, you did. Okay, just a gentle reminder. Do you promise to give us your time, talent, and treasures for this beloved activity known as Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living?
All right. Now you have pledged your commitment to Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living and to its values, mission, and vision. You've pledged your time, talent, and treasure to its expansion and growth. We are delighted and honored to welcome you as members of Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living with all the rights, responsibilities, and privileges of that membership. And your job now is to jump up and down, scream, clap, whoop, and whatnot. So please, let's welcome our new members. Come up. Woo! Now, hold your candle up. Hold your candle up high. As these candles go out, we know that they light the light that's inside you a little bit brighter. And so it is. And those can just go under your chair. We'll collect those later on. All right, so we are 3 beings richer now at Golden Gate CSL, and we're pretty pleased about that. Ah, yes. So we are now in the second week of our 8-week financial intentions program. And because we began the year, our 40th anniversary, with There's No Place Like Home from The Wizard of Oz, our program for this 8 weeks is named Follow the Yellow Brick Road. And our intention is to do that, to move forward in our lives together and manifest even greater than we have up to this moment. So all of you received a journal last week. Yes? If you didn't receive a journal, I hope you got one when you came in the door. If you don't have a journal, would you raise your hand? We want to make sure you have one. Okay, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here that need journals. I'm sorry? Pens. Who needs pens? Okay, so we want to make sure we get the journals out first. So we need 3 or 4 more journals up here. Would you guys raise your hands if you need a journal so that Ellen can find you? Right here, we have 3 right here that need journals. And anybody on this side of the room that needs a pen, wave at Paulo and she looks around again. You'll notice in the, those of you that got your journal last week will notice that we did reverse pages 7 and 8 in your book. They actually were going to go in here the other way. So the Sunday talk notes for today are on page 6. That's where you can take notes if you like. If you flip the page over, you'll see it says, "If I only had a brain." And so today, we're talking about the second of the desires. Last week was about hope, and we talked about how each one of the characters in The Wizard of Oz had something that they hoped for, something that they wanted, something they were looking forward to. So last week we talked about the general journey, going off to follow the yellow brick road, and the hope, without ever knowing who the wizard was or where this road was going to take them, that they would receive what they wanted. Today, we're looking at the scarecrow and his desire for a brain, which is interesting because he is the smartest, pretty much, this entity of this little group that's traveling together. He is wishing for intelligence, for the ability to think. So if you look at the page in your book that says Sunday, October 8th, "If I Only Had a Brain," you'll see that there's a quote here from our founder, Ernest Holmes. It says, "A religious scientist is someone who knows, who has an awareness arrived at, perhaps by intuition, because he has listened until something spoke." And then that's followed with this: "We believe that infinite intelligence is omnipresent, everywhere, in its entirety. So it must be fully present in us all. We receive its guidance as a gut feeling or intuition. When we know something, but not how we know it, that's the guidance of intuition. And so, in order to experience an increase in intuition and our trust in that, we need to let go of something that stops us from listening or stops us from believing or paying attention or giving credibility to our own intuition sometimes, because we do live in a culture that wants to prove everything. And sometimes we know things, but we can't explain how we know them, right? Is this in English? Are you all an English-speaking group? Yes? Okay. So, in order to deepen our intuition, we need to let go of something. We need to put something down in order to make space for more intuition. So whatever that is, in this little box, you'll see there's a line that says, the question is, what will you release to expand your possibilities? And the box says, I release, line, in order to deepen my intuition. So I'd like you to think about what would open you to accepting more of your intuition or inviting it. Whatever is in the way of that, I want you to just write that down on the line, because we're going to give you a brick, a little gold brick, to paste over it. So take a moment to write down what you want to release in order to receive more possibilities through your intuition. And now, once you've done that, you're all going to receive this little gold brick. And this little gold brick says intuition. So when you affix this over what you wrote in that box and fix it in place, You are affirming your desire to release that, whatever it is, and accept more intuition. And Karen Frost has lovingly also provided a little glue stick station for us so that you can glue it right into your journal, not now, but after the service, and it's right around the corner on the coffee service table. So when you get your intuition brick, you can go ahead and tuck it in right there so that after the service you can go over, take your glue stick, put a little glue on it, and stick it into your book. And so once you stick it into your book, then it's going to look like that. And this is the second yellow brick in our yellow brick road. During the week, oh, that's very odd. William, would you do me a favor? Would you go to my computer and turn Dropbox off and give me back my slideshow? So you'll also find in the journal that there are 2 pages for journaling about intuition this week. Now, because pages 7 and 8 are reversed, the first journaling page is actually page 8 opposite the Sunday notes, but that's okay. Those of you that got a journal today, I think that's not the problem because those are straightened out. But you'll have 2 journaling pages, and at the bottom of the second one is another quote from Ernest Holmes that says, "There is an intuition within you which already knows." Thank you, William. Already knows that you are one with good, that your destiny is certain, and you must listen to this intuition, for it is the voice of God in you. When we're actually listening to our intuition, usually when we get that intuitive guidance, what we find is that it's generally something that asks us to stretch. It's generally something that is a little more than we know how to do, or certainly more than we know how to explain. And so it requires a letting go to that, a letting go of thinking we know it all, a letting go of having control of everything, a letting go of, whatever that might be. So when we say, if I only had a brain, you could say something like that based on not being able to remember something, forgetting a date with somebody. I once had a calendar page where I had written down noon. That's it, on a particular day. And I saw that in my daily planner that I had at the time. And I thought, I must have been on the phone or distracted with somebody. So I wrote down that I'm supposed to be someplace at noon on this day with somebody, but I have no idea where or who. And so that would be a moment when I might have said, if I only had a brain. But what we know is, and this was true even for the scarecrow, that if spirit is omnipresent, if that God, higher self, infinite mind, mystery, is one undivided whole, then it is present fully everywhere, in everything and everyone. And what that means is that when we don't know how to do something, that's okay. When we don't know what we think we need to know, that's okay, because the mind that we're using is our use of that divine consciousness. And that doesn't mean that we can access everything in the consciousness of God, because I think our brains would explode if we did that. But it's all available kind of on an as-needed basis. So what that means is you don't need to know the quantum physics for how to get to Mars, but you may need to be able to find the directions to somebody. You may need to be able to remember how you got there before and have a momentary feeling that you don't know, or you can't remember, or you can't figure it out, or you don't know where you put it or how to look it up. And what we know is that the infinite intelligence, that mind of God, knows. It didn't forget, it's not confused. Therefore, there's something within us that knows what we need to know. And when we get very still and we let go of trying to know and just open up to however it's going to unfold, it's in divine right action, then we let it be. Before long, what we need to know or some access to it makes itself available to us. The downside of that for me, I find, is that when my mind is wrapped up and confused and scrambled, it's a lot harder for me to just settle and know all is well. Is it like that for you? So let's take a deep breath together. And one more. You at home too, I'm watching. I mean it. Now the room feels settled as one breath, one voice, one mind. We have more access to that consciousness. Omniscient mind is available to us, and if it is omnipresent, then it was available to the scarecrow too. And it was very interesting because the first direction he gave to Dorothy was he wanted her to help him get off the pole. And she couldn't figure out how to do it. And he said, well, I can't think, but if you bend the nail down, maybe I'll slip off. And of course he does. And in the book, he says something to Dorothy like, you know, I don't weigh very much because I'm made of straw. Maybe you can just lift me off. And so whatever it is the scarecrow says when he's trying to solve a problem does not come from thinking it through, because he doesn't have the capacity to think it through. But what he needs to know is available to him already. We have the capacity to think it through, which sometimes becomes a problem for us. We're busy trying to analyze it and not paying any attention to sort of our common sense or our intuition. I have a story about these three guys. One day, Bob, Joe, and Dave were hiking in the wilderness, and when they came upon a large, raging river, and they needed to get to the other side, but they had no idea how to do it. So Joe prayed to God, saying, please, God, give me the strength to cross the river. And poof, suddenly he had big arms and strong legs, and he was able to swim across that river in about 2 hours. He actually made it, although he almost drowned a couple times. He actually made it to the other side. So seeing that, Dave prayed to God and said, please, God, give me the strength and the tools to cross the river. And suddenly there was a rowboat and oars, and he was able to row himself across the river in about an hour. He did almost capsize, but he made it across. So Bob had seen how this worked out for the two of them, and so he also prayed to God, saying, God, please give me the strength and the tools and the intelligence to cross this river. And suddenly he turned into a woman. She looked at the map, hiked upstream a couple hundred yards, and walked across the bridge. So, sorry guys, I realize that's a kind of a sexist joke, and somehow I just needed to know that you would forgive me, that we realize you're not dumb. Well, I think even I saw the guys chuckling too, so yeah. So what Ernest Holmes says to us in The Science of Mind is, we came from life and are in life, so we're one with life. And we know that instinctive life within, which has brought us to this point of self-recognition, still knows in us the reason for all things, the purpose underlying all things. And we know that there is nothing in us of fear, doubt, or confusion which can hinder the flow of reality to the point of our recognition of it. We are guided daily by divine intelligence into paths of peace, wherein the soul recognizes its source and meets it in joyful union, in complete at-one-ment. And so this is the direction that we want to be able to go. Whatever it is that brought us to this point, it was intuition in the form of discomfort or curiosity or intense longing that brought us to the point that we're in our own lives now. In essence, passion led us here, but whatever that passion was, it was intuition insisting so much that we couldn't resist, and we found ourselves going there. Naturally, we find that this kind of guidance is within everybody all the time. It's really easy to see in little kids. They know what they want, and they're very focused on it. And it doesn't matter what you do to distract them. They will generally, as soon as they're done doing whatever it is you've distracted them with, go right back to whatever that was that they really wanted. How many of you in here are parents? So you've seen this, you know this, and your parents would have said the same thing. That inner knowing can guide us and reveal whatever it is that we need to know. What we need to know is already known by that mind within us. Now, this is a great comfort, but does also mean that we need to be able to make space for it to bring our awareness to what it is that we need to know, or where the source is, where we can find it. Tom Thackeray wrote, "We harmonize with our inner intelligence and trust the intuitive guidance that appears, rather than dismiss it as unrelated. We realize that underneath the facade, we are already wise and not at the mercy of our thoughts and emotions." So what he's implying is that the thoughts and emotions can block us from our own intuition. And I know that's true for me. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and assume that's true for you too. That when we are wrapped up in concern or worry or resentment or regret or guilt or, we are in the way of our own intuition. When we let those things go, we can allow guidance to reveal itself to us. And the good news about it is that you don't have to be able to let it go 100% and suddenly be completely centered and grounded. Any increment that you let it go begins to be an opening to allow you to know more about what you need to know. And that is good news. So Rumi says, there is a voice that doesn't use words. Listen. And so what we need to do is recognize that this mind is speaking to us all the time through our intuition. So we need to sometimes access information, but we don't know how to access it, or we don't know how to do whatever it is. And we want to know, well, for me, I know I want to feel certain that I know. But sometimes there's no way to do that. I remember my first vividly clear experience of intuition was when I decided where I was going to go to college. And it wasn't actually a decision I made. I was wrestling between two options, and then as I was walking on the beach, I kind of wasn't even thinking about it, but I realized when I turned around to walk back to where I started that I knew where I was going to go. I just knew. I never doubted it. It turned out fabulously for me. So that's always stayed with me, that moment where I realized that I knew, but I hadn't decided, and I didn't know why I knew or how I knew. I just knew, and that was all I needed. I used to be an intern at the Institute of Noetic Studies. And Dean Radin is the resident scientist there. And they do a lot of studies about consciousness. And so he wrote a book about how they were testing people's intuition, their intuitive knowledge. And this comes from the conclusion of the write-up on that study. He said, based on the present pilot study, one source of intuitive knowledge appears to involve a means of gaining information that is not mediated by the ordinary senses. If this conclusion is correct, It raises the radical possibility that the existence of such non-local connections, non-local mental capacities, a form of first sight that precedes sensory awareness, may help shape the nature of physical reality itself. Now that's big to hear a physicist say that. So what he's saying is, we seem to be able to perceive things where the information is not in the same place that we are, and that we access that information and draw it to us through some other process that isn't linear and sensory and analytical. Isaac Wachuli said, intuition is the guidance provided by the intelligent life force within. So if there's only one, and we're all a part of that one, then we're connected to everything else, and we're connected to that infinite mind. And in essence, all of it is inside of us all the time, as well as all around us. So Matteo Sol says, intuition can be thought of as our collective unconscious, gut feeling, divine selves, whatever you want to call it. This guide comes from a spiritual level, from our souls, and brings us immense wisdom and insight if we listen to it carefully. And that's, of course, the trick. You know, some years ago, the music director at the Center for Spiritual Living in Santa Rosa was Linda Webb Kakaba. You may have never heard her music, but she was quite a wonderful songwriter and had a beautiful voice. And she and Dr. Edward Fillion wrote a song called Everything I Need to Know. And part of it was, everything I need to know is available to me through the mind of God within me. Now that's a wonderful affirmation for when we want to know something or understand something. And sometimes what happens is that what comes in response to that isn't exactly what we thought it would look like or what we thought we needed or wanted, but it does turn out to lead us in the right direction anyway. I mean, think about, everybody has experienced this. Think about any example in your own life where you had a feeling you suddenly had to change lanes, and then you realized, you know, the person behind you would have hit you if you hadn't moved over right then. Or I know somebody who was wrapped up in thought, and she needed to get someplace at a particular time, and she was just about ready to go past the exit as she was thinking, and she actually heard a voice say, "Exit now!" And quickly she did that. So these sorts of things show up as feelings or experiences. And just think about your own life, examples in your own life where you feel that you were divinely guided somehow, that you had an awareness that you couldn't explain how that was or how you knew what needed to happen. When I hurt my back many years ago, I was in the hospital for a while, and I was having an experience of numbness in my leg that the doctors could tell it wasn't caused by nerves. It wasn't caused by, well, they were worried about it being nerves. But a friend of mine was in the hospital room there with me. They had me on a morphine drip because I was in pain. So maybe that's why I was so calm. But the doctor came in. He wasn't the doctor I had seen before. And he said to me, "There is a possibility that you might have MS." And I knew I didn't have MS. I just knew. So it rolled right over me. It never, and like I said, it could have been the morphine, but I was just, you know, I wasn't worried about it. I wasn't upset about it. I knew he was wrong, and that was okay. So when he left, I just fell asleep. Meanwhile, my friend who was sitting there was freaking out at the possibility that I might have MS and that she couldn't talk to me about it. But I was completely at ease because something in me knew that was not the case. So we get experiences like that that are actually examples of this amazing process that's always available in us. And if we relax into it, fortunately I was already relaxed, if we relax into it, then we're more able to allow that to to lead us onward. And as it turned out, of course, I didn't have MS, so that was fine too. We have that inner voice within us, and it is the closest way for spirit to communicate with us. I mean, we could get divine guidance messages, really and truly, from anywhere, but within our own minds, that's the most efficient way to do it, because that's the closest thing to us, right here. However, sometimes the universe will support us in knowing, even when we're resisting in our minds, because we want to figure it out, we want to control it, we want to understand it, we want to be right. Anybody here ever like to be right? Yeah, a few of us. So it's important to give ourselves that opportunity to just, allow. And when we can't allow it in our own minds, the universe will sometimes speak louder to us. We will have a sudden thought while we're out gardening or taking a walk, or we'll be watching something on television and somebody will say one sentence that we suddenly go, oh my God, that's exactly what I've been trying to understand. Or we'll hear a lyric in a song, or some friend will just say it to us. How many of you are familiar with A Course in Miracles? Any of you used it yourselves in the past? Okay, so the woman who received A Course in Miracles just said it was like taking dictation. She heard this dictation in her head. And if she got interrupted, because she was working at Stanford, I think, if she got interrupted, she could stop anywhere, and as soon as she was available again, it would pick up right where it left off, even if it was in the middle of a sentence, every single time. Well, she was an atheist, which kind of complicated this. And her partner there in the laboratory was a doctoral psychologist. They were both doctors in psychology. Very linear people, both of them. And they had a terrible relationship, really dreadful. And so at one point, he said to her, there's got to be a better way for us to work together. And she said back to him, for some reason, well, I don't know what it is either, but I will work with you on it. And that's when this dictation started. So after she'd written all this stuff down, they kept locking it up in the file cabinet. She would actually dictate it to him, and he would write it down. What he said to her was, well, just keep doing it, and we'll take it all down, and if it's crazy, we'll burn it, and we won't ever tell anybody. So that's what they did. So they had it locked up in a file cabinet, right? Now, Judith Skutch was the publisher of A Course in Miracles. She was doing parapsychological research. She had started a foundation for that purpose. Well, she started a foundation because she was told to start a foundation by some psychic, and she didn't know what it was for, and the psychic said, you'll find out. So she started one for parapsychological research. So as it happened, she was at the university giving a lecture about this parapsychological research, and for some reason, these two linear atheists went in to this lecture. Partway through the lecture, Judith said her mind kind of switched off, and she said something that she hadn't been prepared to say and didn't know where it came from. It was like one sentence, and it was directly out of what they had been writing down. So they came up to her afterwards and said they wanted to take her for coffee, and they went, and she couldn't figure out why they wanted to take her, because as far as she could tell, they weren't very interested in what she was talking about. So they sat down to have coffee, and she was telling them more about her research, and she said they looked bored. And then it happened again. Her mind just kind of switched off, and she turned to Helen, and she said to her, so I understand you've been hearing voices, or you've been hearing a voice. And Helen looked at Bill, and she said, let's get out of here. So they took her back to the office, they locked the door, they put down the shades, they gave her the manuscript, told her what this was all about, and she started reading parts of it while she was there. And that's how A Course in Miracles ended up being published. It was all intuition. Everything came unbidden and not by any linear means whatsoever. In A Course in Miracles, so Judith said to Helen, who was receiving all this, who is this speaking in the writing? Who is this? And Helen said, he says it's Jesus. Now remember, she was an atheist. She was also Jewish, so was Bill. And Judith also was Jewish, and she said, do you think it is? And she said, Helen looked at her absolutely shocked, and she said, of course. And so A Course in Miracles has gone all over the world with this very nonlinear origin story. This is how it came to be. I don't know that everybody knows this story, but this is how it came to be. So the inner voice is the most efficient if we're available to it. Albert Einstein said, intuition does not come to the unprepared mind. So that means that somehow we have to value it and be open to it and invite it. Do things that invite our own intuition, which means relaxing and letting go of control and sitting without thinking and stuff like that. David Lynch said, intuition is the key to everything. In painting, in filmmaking, in business, everything. I think you could have an intellectual ability, but if you can sharpen your intuition, which they say is emotion and intellect joining together, then a knowingness occurs, right? And Steve Jobs said, intuition is a very powerful thing, more powerful than intellect, in my opinion. Why was it that he dropped out of school and then decided he could take any class he wanted to, and so took calligraphy, which led to all the different fonts and their spacing that began to emerge through Apple? That's why we have those on all of our computers, not just Apple computers. This is a story, and I'll wrap up with this now. This is a story about intuition that is insistent for a child. She says, when I was little, I often slept over at my cousin's house. She had an awesome wooden bunk bed, and I would sleep on the bottom bunk. Once when I was 7, I went over and she and I ate Chinese food with my aunt and uncle, and then my cousin and I stayed up late playing video games before going to bed. As a kid, I used to fall asleep right away and sleep really deeply. In fact, my family still jokes that not even a car going through the house could wake me up. Anyway, sometime after I fell asleep, I woke up with this ridiculous feeling that I had to roll over. I didn't want to because I was comfortable sleeping, as I normally do, in the middle of the bed with my foot hanging off. I kept arguing with myself about rolling over, but finally I did. And then I had the urge to literally cuddle as tight as I could against the wall. Well, since I'd already rolled over, I figured, why not? And as I was trying to press myself as hard as possible against the wall, the bunk bed collapsed, and a broken metal bar went straight through the bed where I had been sleeping. I was stuck but unharmed in the little space where against the wall until my uncle could cut me out. My cousin fell from the top bunk when it collapsed, but she was also unharmed. Now, why does that happen? Why would something like that happen? It beggars the imagination. Like, what in the world woke this 7-year-old up and said, roll over and get against the wall? And how many of us would actually do that if we had a feeling like that? So this is an example of something that's available in our natural makeup all the time, everywhere to us. And we want to be able to use it, I think, don't we? So that we have access to more information than our minds can possibly provide for us. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, said that the conscious mind only has 2 real jobs. It's not creative, the conscious mind. It draws from the subconscious mind for everything that it creates. The conscious mind has 2 jobs. One is to choose what we want to do or become or experience or have, and the other is focus. To choose that and keep our attention focused on the experience of having it, or being it, or doing it in the way that we want to. And that is it. And it's amazing how hard it is to just do that. I mean, imagine all the things your subconscious is already doing. Everything in your body that's doing everything it's supposed to do, that's your subconscious running the parasympathetic system, the nervous system, the blood flow, the heartbeat, the lungs, the blinking of the eyes, communicating between the brain and the gut and the body. Wiggle your toes right now. How did your brain know to tell your feet to do that? But it does. It knows how once it gets the message. So we, in our subconscious, we have access to everything that we need, but we don't have it so much by thinking about it. Because when we think about it, the only things that we have available to us are what we've already learned about or experienced, and that, by its very nature, is limited. If what we need to know or do is something we have not yet encountered, or we didn't learn it, or we didn't remember it, or we don't have the experience of it, our mind, going like a little creature in a squirrel cage, is not going to get any closer, probably. But our subconscious mind has access to the entire library of consciousness. And we have an unlimited eternal library card. And we can check out whatever we want. Now, we're in the habit of checking out stuff that we already like. Any of you ever watch movies again and again that you like really well? I'm guilty of that. As I said before, I've seen The Wizard of Oz hundreds of times, right? So we do that, but also it's good to wander in the stacks and just see what jumps out at you. Wander in a particular subject and just see what pops out at you. That might be interesting. And so that's what we do with the subconscious. When we know what it is we want to explore, we just kind of embody that desire as if we were experiencing it, and then let it go. It will either find its way to us or draw us to it, or it will reveal to us why something is better than what we thought. So that's the direction that we want to go as we're building our yellow brick road into the future together. Now, Joe Hughes did the altar for us this morning, and what she's got is the stairway, the golden brick stairway, and this is actually a poster from a previous commitment program that Jet Walker created. So that's a blast from the past there. And on the far left side, we've got the witch's broomstick from the wise women, in the Celtic lands. We've got the pumpkin, which actually back then they used squash rather than pumpkin. And so that's the past. And then over here on this side, we have the future, the light, the blooming, the illumination. But they're up there together because the history is important and all of that wisdom, as well as the visionary, intuitive sense of what's coming. We need those together to create the most rich experience in our unfoldment. And in order to do that, we need hope, which we looked at last week, and we need intuition. So knowing that, let's take a moment now to just turn within and anchor our availability to our intuition. So right here and now in this room, we recognize, remember, and know that the one presence that permeates and is the source of all that is right here. There is no spot we can look at or touch, no air we can breathe that is not full of divine presence already. And so are we. And what this means is that the most whole, complete, perfect qualities of God that we can imagine dwell within us. And we can pull those up and strengthen them and use them and rely on them. And within us, there is hope toward our future, and there is built into us a natural guidance. So together we now claim an awareness that deepens, that opens us to the deep well of intuition right where we are within us. We invite the guidance of Spirit, perfectly tailored to us, to arise within and around us without resistance, knowing that no fear, no doubt, no past experience can block the infinite presence from knowing exactly how to deliver that information that we need to us right where we are in such a way that we cannot miss it. So we claim our guidance in that way. We take hold of it recognizing that we were created for this, that we are worthy of this, that we are ready for this, and we allow that guidance to reveal what we need to know on our yellow brick road right now. With gratitude, we release this prayer into the creative law, which does the work in that subconscious realm and always, always, always says yes. We let this prayer go into that mystical oneness, and we just let it be. And together we say, and so it is. Yes. Please stand and join me now for the morning affirmation. And you online, you can stand up and say this too. Infinite intelligence is present everywhere. Therefore, whatever I need to know about what lies before me is available in me. God's mind is my mind always, and I am using that divine intelligence within to make good choices. And so it is. Yeah, good choices. You may be seated. So this is our time now to prepare to receive the sacred offerings. So I want to invite the ushers to come up. Those of you that are at home, if you want to text an offering today, you're welcome to do that. The number is on the screen. In the room, you can do that as well if you want. And on the flip side of your program, it gives you all the information about making contributions if you want to. For those of you that have your gifts with you today, I'm going to invite you to hold those over your heart, unless you're giving it with a loved one, in which case you can hold them in your hands together. And we bless the offering because everything we give out should go with conscious blessing as a reflection of and a part of our own energy that we're sending out into the world from the highest place that we can. So we want to bless this offering right now by saying this offering blessing together. And by the way, if you're not giving financially today, I want you to know that you are the gift. So still put your hands over your heart. This gift I give is God in action. I now send it forth to bless and to prosper. I know that everywhere it goes, it is creating a world living in love, one heart and one thought at a time. And so it is. Please go ahead. Lauren?
So Reverend Mary mentioned things to let go of and also voices that are wonderful. There are also voices that maybe we want to let go of. And so here's a song about one of those. I've got a little helper here. Here we go. You can't. Wait, hang on a second. Let me get this back here. Here we go. You can't do that. It's too hard. Why are you even bothering? Hey, you voice in my head. Yeah, I heard what you said, but I'll choose new thoughts instead, and I'll say, go away, go away. Maybe you did it one time, but it's never gonna happen again. Give up. Hey, you critical voice, who won't let me rejoice, doubting my every choice, so I say, go away, go away. You don't know what you're doing. All these times you've led me to judge myself and criticize, but all the lines you fed me, I realize are only lies. I'm finally getting wise and saying, hey, you voice of self-doubt, but I don't care what you shout. It's time for throwing you out, and I say, go away, go away. You're not good enough, telling me I'm not good enough, and teaching me to fear you. But as of now, I've stood enough, and I don't even want to be near you. You're wrong, la la la, I can't hear you. Hey, you voice in my head, I can't hear what you said, since I chose new thoughts instead, and I say, go away, go away. Why even bother? Hey, you voice of self-doubt, I don't care what you shout. It's time for throwing you out, and I say, go away, go away. You need to listen to me. You're no longer needed, so you've been deleted. Go away, go away, go away. But, bye.
Thank you, Lauren. So let's all of us together now, on behalf of Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, accept this offering with great gratitude, knowing that because it is blessed by those of you that had it to give, and by all of us in the room together, that it goes out into the world to encourage people to be free to listen to their intuition. And so it is. So it is. Now, if you're here with us for the very first time today, I want to draw your attention to the table in the back on that side. You will find back there are a lot of little goodies for newcomers. And included in the welcome packet, which you'll find in the envelopes back there, included in the welcome packet, there's a blue card. If you fill it out and turn it in, we will put you on the mailing list or whatever you say you want to do, and we will also give you a gift. And the gift is our thank you to you for being here today. It's a little book called Nourishing Thoughts. If you would like to tell some of your self-critical thoughts to go away, those are thoughts you can replace them with. And it's also our invitation to you to come back and be with us often in the future. So please avail yourself of the handouts and pick up a welcome packet. We're delighted to have you with us today. I also want to acknowledge everyone that helped get everything set up today so that we're all ready for a wonderful celebration. I want to acknowledge particularly the Sunday team that made sure you all had journals and pens and your brick for the day. I want to acknowledge Reverend Karen and Randy for making sure that we had extra books today and we're well prepared. And for the gluing station, remember you've got a glue stick station over here so you won't lose your intuition on your way home. And also Joanna Hughes for doing the altar, and Leslie for stepping in over here at the prayer table because Deborah couldn't be here today after all. So let's just acknowledge everybody for all this great stuff that has been done for us today. And once again for Lauren for being here with us today. Thank you, Lauren Mayer. All right. And I forgot to do this last week, so if you have an October birthday, would you please stand up? All right, here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear October. Happy birthday to you. Yes, we honor your birth. All right, now then, today is the second of 3 Sundays where we are collecting warm coats. They can be gently used as long as they're clean and wearable and don't have any rips or tears or holes or anything like that in them. Or they can be new. They can be any size, children, middle-sized, adults, teenagers, whatever. There are so many people who actually would benefit from having a warm coat in the wintertime. So we're doing this project with one warm coat, and one warm coat day is actually October 17th. So we are collecting coats this week also, and next week. There's a table back there you can put the coats on if you brought them with you today. And next week will be the last Sunday. Deborah Irwin, where did she go? Deborah Irwin in the back made us aware of this, and she will answer any questions that you have about this. If you're making a financial contribution, here is a tip. You can give them online to One Warm Coat. Do it on October 17th. That would be a Tuesday, because all the donations that come into them that day, their board of trustees or their board of whatever, directors, they're going to match it up to the first $30,000 that's given. So that's a great day to make a financial contribution if you're going to do that. And yeah, that's everything we need to know about that one, I guess. So we're looking forward to that, and I want to thank Deborah for bringing that to our attention. Also, next Sunday is the Sacred Grieving Workshop with Lori Greer and Leslie Giannetti, two of our prayer practitioners. And you can sign up at the back table if you have not done so already, or talk to Leslie this morning to find out more about it. And this is a workshop for those who have a sense of grieving over a loss. It doesn't have to be recent necessarily. So take this 2-hour opportunity next week to be with others in mutual support with some exercises to assist you with that process. Also, Women's Drumming Circle is returning this month. So next Wednesday, October 18th, from 7 to 8:30 at Unity in Marin, with master drummer Barbara Borden, the Women's Drumming Circle is reconvening. I believe there are some extra drums if you don't have one and you want to go, or you can just hang out and soak it up. But they do request that you register. It doesn't cost anything. You just come. If they would love to have a $20 love offering, but you can give whatever you can give, and if you can't give anything, it doesn't matter. So drumming, for those of you that want to jump into some rhythm, that is available coming up a week from Wednesday. And also, we have been, as you know, giving 1 day a month, 2 hours for the San Francisco Marin Food Bank. The next one is coming up on November 14th. It's from noon to 2. Please talk to Ellen Nicosia. You can contact her with her information online, or she is heading up the Sunday team today with the snacks. You'll find her out here by the food table, probably making sure everything's out there. You can talk to her about it if you know that you want to sign up for this, because we have to let them know in advance, and it's really helpful to find out who wants to participate well in advance. And because Amanda and I are going to New Mexico on Wednesday morning at dark 30 for my son's wedding, we will be gone, which I'm performing. We will be gone for a full week. Now that means that the Wednesday meditations for this week and next week are canceled. They will resume on the 25th. And it also means that next week we're going to have a guest speaker. And the guest speaker next week is Reverend Dr. Georgia Prescott. And if you don't know who she is, you do not want to miss Georgia, believe me. She's really something. She founded the Center for she founded the Sacramento Church of Religious Science in about 1998, very shortly after she graduated from the School of Ministry. She recently retired. It's now called the Center for Spiritual Awareness, and she will be here next Sunday speaking for me, and it will be a great time. So please come, bring your friends, settle in, and really enjoy Reverend Georgia. She goes deep and she's good.
Marian, many of us know her from Women's Spirit.
Right. All right. Now, if you would like prayer this morning, talk to Leslie, put a request in the box. I know I've run over, but that's because I wanted to welcome the new members, so that's what I did. And of course, we wanted you to welcome the new members also. So let's have the practitioners surround the room, and we're going to go ahead and close out the morning, first with a prayer that's going to wash over you, and then we're going to do a closing blessing together. So let's turn within in this moment. Take a breath. I know right here and right now, the one presence and power is in this room and in me and in every single one of us. And there is nothing this presence and power cannot do or does not know. So I enter into a wonderful week of intuition. I allow that yellow brick road of spirit to show me what's next and to wholeheartedly move forward, knowing everything is prepared for me and provided for me as I follow that divine guidance. I know that this is happening within every person in this room, that we are ready and capable of listening, that the voice of Spirit is happy to commune with us, and we are open to it with gratitude right now. And so it is. Okay, please stand and join me for the closing blessing, and then Lauren is going to take us out. So we say this together again. I now walk so that whoever walks beside me dwells in the presence of God, and whoever places a hand in mine is lifted, and whoever thinks of me is illumined with God consciousness, for Spirit and all people and I are one eternally. And so it is. All right, here we go.
I'm going to close with a Karen Drucker song. My religion is kindness. My church is nature. My God is a feeling that lives deep inside. My job's to be conscious. My path is forgiveness. My religion is kindness, and I practice it every day. Everyone has a story. Everyone has pain. When we strip away our masks, we realize we're sane. Those little things we say and do that can mean so much. A smile, a connection, a simple love and touch. My religion is kindness. My church is nature. My God is a feeling that lives deep inside. My job's to be conscious. My path is forgiveness. My religion is kindness, and I practice it every day. Today I'm gonna ask myself, what more can I do to be a radiant child of God and let my love shine through? Gonna let my heart be my guide to give the best of me. Gonna share joy, share my love, give it boundlessly. My religion is kindness. My church is nature. My God is a feeling that lives deep inside. My job's to be conscious. My path is forgiveness. My religion is kindness, and I practice it every day. Dance break. Woo. I'm serious.
Oh, come on, move. If you don't know the song, you can at least dance. Yeah?
My attempt at rapping. Here we go. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. And then Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came running after. She said, Jack, tell me, what can I do to help to ease your mind? He said, hold my hands and just be kind, and I know I'll be fine. 'Cause my religion is kindness. My church is nature. My God is a feeling that lives deep inside. My God is a feel conscious. My path is forgiveness. My religion is kindness, and I practice it every day. One more time. My religion is kindness. My church is nature. My God is a feeling that lives deep inside. My job's to be conscious. My path is forgiveness. My religion is kindness, and I practice it every day. Last line. My religion is kindness, and I practice it every day. My religion is kindness. Everybody, big finish. And I practice it every day. Oh.
you.